There comes a time when the soul must cease its restless wandering. The more we seek, the more we affirm that what we seek is missing. Desire is not a call to chase, but a signal to awaken to what already is. The treasure is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It is already here, awaiting recognition. When you stop seeking, you stop declaring lack. You no longer whisper to the universe that you do not have. Instead, you stand still and declare, "It is mine." In that moment of stillness, creation answers. The still heart, the restful mind, the assured spirit, these are the magnets of fulfillment. The secret lies not in pursuit, but in assumption. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you no longer chase it, you embody it. And by embodying it, you call it forth. It comes not because you ran after it, but because you became it. The seed of every desire is planted in your imagination, and by dwelling in its reality, you water it until it blossoms in the seen world. Stop seeking and rest in the being of your desire. The law is simple. What you inwardly accept as true must clothe itself in fact. When you look outward, you may see only shadows. When you look inward, you behold the truth. And when the truth is seen within, it cannot be denied without. Do not run, do not beg, do not chase. Rest, assume, and live as though it is already done. In stillness, the world bends to your state of being. That which you once sought now seeks you. That which you once pursued now pursues you. And what was once a dream becomes the fabric of your reality. Desire fulfilled exists now, and this is the truth that sets you free from endless searching. The moment a desire is born in you, its fulfillment is already complete in the unseen. What you call desire is not a signal of lack, but a whisper of remembrance. It is the inner echo of something that already exists in spirit, now pressing upon your awareness so that you may bring it into visibility. To chase after it, to seek and struggle, is to proclaim that it does not yet belong to you. Seeking affirms absence, but assumption affirms possession. When you see yourself as already in possession of what you long for, the unseen begins to harden into the seen. Think of the seed planted in the soil. The moment it is sown, the full-grown tree already exists in potential. To look at the seed and declare, "Where is the tree?" is to ignore the truth that the tree is already there, concealed within. In the same way, when you hold a desire in your heart, its fulfillment is not something far away, not something you must chase, but something already planted within your being. Your role is not to run in pursuit, but to nurture the inner reality until it emerges outwardly. Every time you say, "I want," you affirm that you do not yet have. Every time you say, "I seek," you reinforce the distance between yourself and your desire. But when you shift to "I am," you bridge that distance instantly. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am free. These statements of being are declarations that what you long for exists now. The outer world cannot resist the inner acceptance of truth. It must align, because the world is nothing more than the mirror of your inner state. Desire is the preview of fulfillment. It is not a sign that something is missing, but proof that it is already yours in the unseen dimension. Why would you be given the hunger if the feast did not exist? Why would the thirst be felt if water were not already present? The very fact that you can desire it is evidence that it is real, waiting only for your recognition. Stop seeking, for seeking only pushes it further away. Instead, dwell in the end. Live from the place where the desire is already fulfilled. Feel the satisfaction, the gratitude, the joy of already being the one who has it. This shift in consciousness is the bridge between invisibility and visibility. Creation is finished, and your desires are part of that finished work. When you stand in this truth, you no longer beg or chase, you rest in the knowing that it is already so. To live in the awareness of desire fulfilled is to live in freedom. It is to walk with assurance, to speak with confidence, to rest in peace. What you long for is not on its way. It already exists. The unseen is complete, and when you cease to seek, you allow it to unfold in perfect time. The desire fulfilled exists now, and by accepting this, you make it your living reality. Stillness is the gateway, for in quiet surrender, the door opens for what you wish to enter your life. The world teaches constant striving, restless movement, and endless effort, as though the more you chase, the faster things will come. Yet the truth is the opposite. The power that brings your desires into being is not found in agitation, but in calm assurance. It is when you still the mind, when you let go of frantic searching, that the invisible currents of life move in your favor. Stillness is not passivity, it is alignment. It is not weakness, it is strength in its highest form. When you are still, you stop resisting. You stop creating waves that distort the reflection of your own desire. Imagine a lake disturbed by constant motion. The surface ripples and trembles, preventing any clear reflection. But when the water is still, it becomes a perfect mirror, showing back exactly what is held before it. So it is with your consciousness. The busier your mind, the harder it is to receive the impressions of fulfillment. But when you rest in silence, your inner state reflects clearly and life mirrors it back in form. Stillness is not about inactivity in the outer world. It is about quietness within. You may act, you may move, you may fulfill daily duties, but inwardly you rest. You release the anxious question of when will it come, how will it happen, what should I do next? Those questions belong to the restless seeker. The one who understands the law knows that silence is the bridge. In silence, you affirm that it is already done. You let go of time, you let go of struggle, you let go of doubt. And in that sacred quiet, creation moves without obstruction. Surrender is not defeat. To surrender is to yield to the higher wisdom that already knows the path. You are not giving up your desire, you are giving up your resistance to it. You are ceasing to fight against the current, allowing the river of life to carry you to the fulfillment that has always been yours. This surrender is not laziness but trust. It is the bold decision to believe that the unseen is real, that the invisible is working, and that your stillness is the very act that unlocks the door. In quietness, inspiration rises. The answers you seek, the ideas you need, the direction you long for, all come naturally when the noise of the mind is silenced. What cannot be solved through striving is resolved through rest. What effort cannot build, stillness manifests with ease. This is why stillness is the true gateway. It is the point where human striving yields to divine flow. When you learn to be still, you discover that everything you desired was always close, always pressing at the door, waiting for your surrender. The moment you stop pushing, it enters. The moment you rest, it arrives. Stillness does not delay. Stillness delivers. For in quiet surrender, you step into harmony with the unseen, and in that harmony, all that you wish for walks calmly into your life. Imagination is possession, for to inwardly feel and see your desire is to already hold it. The world often teaches that possession is limited to what can be touched, counted, or displayed in the outer realm. Yet the true possession begins within, where all creation is first born. What you claim in imagination is as real as what you grasp in your hands, for the unseen precedes the seen. Every house, every invention, every triumph first lived in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it. The chair you sit on was once only a vision. The home you enter was once a dream in someone's heart. To imagine is to possess, and possession in imagination ensures manifestation in form. When you inwardly feel yourself to be what you desire, you are not pretending, you are claiming. To imagine with feeling is not to play games with the mind, it is to plant seeds in the soil of reality. The world outside cannot resist the inner conviction of the one who knows. If you see yourself as poor, struggling, or unworthy within, no amount of outward effort can change your condition, for you carry poverty in your imagination. But if you clothe yourself in abundance inwardly, if you walk in the inner world as the wealthy, the free, the beloved, then you already possess it. Life must mirror what you hold within. Imagination is not daydreaming without power. It is the workshop of creation. Every image you hold with faith is a blueprint of your future. To picture yourself healthy, strong, and whole, and to feel that state with gratitude, is to already step into health. To envision yourself in love, secure and cherished, and to inwardly dwell in that joy, is to already possess love. The possession begins the moment you claim it within. The outer world is only the slow unfolding of what is already secure. This is why imagination must be disciplined. If you allow it to run wild with fear, doubt, and defeat, you possess those things just as surely. The anxious heart imagines loss, and loss appears. The fearful mind imagines failure, and failure is born. But when you deliberately choose to see and feel what you desire as yours, you hold power that no circumstance can resist. You have stepped beyond waiting into having. The beauty of this truth is that no one can take your possession from you. Outward things may shift, but what you inwardly claim cannot be stolen. As long as you walk in the unseen with conviction, the outer world will bow to it in time. What you continually feel and imagine becomes your atmosphere, and life always conforms to the atmosphere you carry. To imagine is to begin living now in the reality you long for. It is to rise above appearances and claim the unseen as more real than the visible. You do not wait to possess. You possess the instant you inwardly accept. And once you accept, the outer world cannot help but catch up. Imagination is possession, and possession within is the guarantee of manifestation without. The law of reversal teaches that the moment you stop running after things, they begin to run toward you. Life seems to condition us into believing that pursuit is the way, that only by striving and chasing can we obtain what we long for. Yet, in truth, chasing affirms distance and pursuit declares lack. Whatever you chase flees, and whatever you run after stays just beyond your reach. But when you reverse the law, when you seize the restless pursuit and instead embody the reality of already having it, you shift from seeker to possessor. What once seemed far now comes near because it recognizes its reflection in you. To embody the reality now is to live from the end. It means no longer saying, one day I will have, but instead, I already am. If you desire wealth, stop running after money and begin to embody abundance. Feel rich in your imagination. Act as though prosperity flows through you. If you desire love, stop chasing affection and begin to dwell in the state of being loved. Walk with the posture, the joy, the quiet confidence of one who is cherished. By embodying, you magnetize. By chasing, you repel. This reversal is not about passivity, but about inner alignment. The world outside is only a mirror of your inner state. When you embody what you seek, you declare to the universe that it is already yours. Life has no choice but to mirror that conviction back to you. Imagine a person chasing their shadow. The harder they run, the further it seems, always just out of reach. But the moment they stand still, the shadow rests at their feet. So it is with your desires. Stop the chase, and they will find you where you stand. The law of reversal is the end of striving. Striving belongs to the realm of lack. Embodying belongs to the realm of fulfillment. To say, I will have, is to keep it in the future. To say, I am, is to anchor it in the present. Creation is finished, and all states already exist. By embodying the one you desire, you select it as your present experience. And once selected inwardly, it must express itself outwardly. The power of this law is seen everywhere. The one desperate for love finds rejection, while the one secure in love within attracts it without. The one chasing success with anxiety stumbles, while the one who already feels successful within draws opportunities with ease. Reversal means stepping out of the role of beggar and into the role of owner. It means walking as though you already have, so that life cannot help but yield. To live by the law of reversal is to shift from pursuit to possession, from striving to being. Stop running after what you desire. Embody its reality now. Wear the feeling of fulfillment as a garment. When you do, the things you once chased will chase you. The law is unchanging. When you stop running, everything you long for begins to run toward you. Assumption over effort is the secret to effortless creation. The world glorifies toil, struggle, and endless striving, as though the harder you work, the closer you will come to your dreams. But in truth, effort often springs from doubt. When you believe something is not yet yours, you strain and push, hoping to make it real. Yet the more you strain, the more you affirm that it is absent. Effort is the language of lack. Assumption is the language of fulfillment. To assume the state of your desire is to bypass struggle and rest in the certainty that it is already yours. Assumption is not wishful thinking, it is possession in consciousness. To assume is to inwardly accept a new identity, to walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled without waiting for evidence. If you assume you are wealthy, you no longer toil anxiously for money, you live in quiet confidence that wealth surrounds you. If you assume you are loved, you no longer chase affection or fear rejection. You carry yourself as one already cherished. The assumption becomes your atmosphere, and life conforms to it. Effort strains because it fights against the truth of being. Imagine trying to push a door that only opens inward. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. Yet the moment you stop pushing and simply pull, the door swings open with ease. Effort is that pushing. Assumption is that gentle pull. The alignment with how the door was meant to open. Creation responds not to force, but to acceptance. When you rest in assumption, you no longer ask, when will it come or how will it happen? Those questions dissolve. because you have already claimed it. You do not question when the sun will rise tomorrow, you assume it, and in that assumption you rest. So it is with every desire. Assumption allows you to live in peace, knowing the unseen is unfolding without strain. Effort demands constant proof, but assumption already knows. The great paradox is that when you stop relying on effort, inspired action flows with ease. Instead of running in circles, you move with clarity and precision. The phone call you need to make, the step you need to take, the idea that changes everything, all of it comes naturally when you rest in assumption. Effort burns energy without direction. Assumption channels energy with power. To assume is to step into identity now. The actor who fully assumes his role no longer pretends. He becomes the character in every gesture, every word, every movement. In the same way, when you assume your desire, you are no longer pretending or hoping. You are becoming. And once you become, the world must adjust to the new state you embody. Rest, therefore, in the knowing that it is already yours. Release the struggle, for effort is strain, but assumption is power. What you inwardly accept without doubt will shape itself outwardly without fail. To live by assumption is to live as though the promise is already kept. And when you rest in that truth, life has no choice but to make it visible. Rest in being is the highest state of power, for when you stop chasing and simply be, everything aligns with your inner conviction. The world trains us to chase success, chase love, chase recognition, chase fulfillment. Yet chasing is rooted in the belief that what you seek is outside of you. The more you chase, the further it runs, for your pursuit testifies that it does not yet belong to you. But when you rest in being, you declare, I already am, I already have, I already live in the fulfillment. In that state, life reorganizes itself to match your conviction. Being is greater than becoming. Becoming suggests a process that is never finished, always reaching, always moving toward, but never arriving. Being is the stillness of arrival. It is the quiet acknowledgement that you are already the person you long to be. When you rest in that identity, the world reflects it without strain. You no longer force circumstances to bend. They bend naturally because they recognize the authority of your inner state. To rest in being is not to give up action, but to release anxious effort. You still move, but your movement flows from certainty rather than desperation. A tree does not strain to grow. It simply rests in being a tree, and from that being its fruit appears in season. Likewise, you do not strain to prove or to force your desire. You rest in being, and the fruit of your assumption ripens in its perfect time. Rest is not inactivity, it is alignment. It is the posture of faith, the calm assurance that what is real inwardly must manifest outwardly. When you rest, you say to life, I trust the unseen. You no longer monitor the clock, measure the distance, or doubt the process. You settle into identity, and identity carries power. The one who knows himself as wealthy rests. The one who knows herself as loved rests. The one who knows freedom is already theirs rests. In that rest, the invisible aligns the visible. Consider the difference between a beggar and a king. The beggar chases, pleads, and grasps, hoping to receive. The king simply is. He does not chase his authority, he embodies it. And because he embodies it, all around him conforms to his being. In the same way, when you embody the state you desire and rest in it, life bows to your inner authority. The chase ends when you recognize that everything you long for already exists within. To run after it is to deny it. To rest in being is to accept it. Rest is the gateway to manifestation because rest is the atmosphere of faith. Faith does not strain, does not question, does not plead, it rests, knowing the outcome is secure. When you stop chasing and simply be, you live in freedom. You release the burden of striving and enter the joy of knowing. And as you rest in being, the whole of creation responds. Circumstances shift, doors open, people appear, and opportunities flow. Not because you chase them, but because you embodied the state that drew them in. Rest in being, and all will align with the conviction you hold within. The message has been simple yet profound. Stop chasing, stop seeking, and instead live in the knowing that all you desire already exists within you. Desire fulfilled is now. Stillness is the gateway. Imagination is possession. The law of reversal is your power. Assumption outweighs effort, and rest in being is the key. Together, these truths reveal that creation is not something you must force. It is something you must embody. The moment you assume the state of your wish fulfilled and rest in that conviction, the world reshapes itself to reflect your inner certainty. So let this be your final reminder. You are not a seeker, you are a creator. You are not waiting for life to give. You are here to accept that it is already given. Stop seeking, and what you long for will come. Rest in faith, dwell in the end, and allow the invisible to clothe itself in the visible. Thank you for listening, and may you walk from this moment not as a seeker, but as one who already possesses.
There exists within you a mighty source, a wellspring that crafts worlds and forges paths where none appear. It is a misconception that we must wait for life to hand us a chance, a sign, a fleeting moment to grasp onto. Instead, I tell you, life is waiting for you to declare what shall be so. The power to shape reality is rooted in imagination, a force that transcends the physical world and reaches into realms beyond sight. Through imagination, one discovers the ability to see past the constraints of the present moment, to envision what could be rather than what appears to be. This gift, which lies dormant in so many, is the true essence of creative power. It is through the vivid, deliberate use of imagination that the unseen becomes seen and the impossible transforms into the possible. For a moment, the world as a reflection of your inner state. Every situation you encounter, every experience that unfolds, is the projection of your deeply held beliefs and visions. The power of imagination lies in its ability to mold this projection, allowing you to experience the reality you have chosen, rather than one dictated by chance or circumstance. This creative faculty within is not bound by logic or limited by the visible world. It exists in a realm where anything can be, and it only awaits your command to take shape. When you engage your imagination with purpose, a remarkable shift begins. Your mind no longer wanders aimlessly, drifting from one thought to the next. Instead, it becomes a disciplined tool, bending toward a specific outcome that you have consciously selected. The clearer and more emotionally charged your vision, the more powerfully it influences the material world. Imagine not just a fleeting idea, but a deeply felt reality, so vivid that you can sense its presence, hear its sounds, feel its textures. This feeling is the language of creation. It is what brings life to your vision and draws it out of the unseen into the tangible. Imagination also defies the barriers of time. When you envision something as already accomplished, you are no longer waiting for a future event to fulfill you. Instead, you inhabit the experience right now, as though it were already yours. By doing so, you eliminate the gap between desire and fulfillment, bringing the future into the present moment. This shift is powerful when you act and think from a state of fulfillment. The world mirrors it back to you. Circumstances rearrange, and people and events align in ways that match the state of mind you have chosen to embody. What many overlook is that imagination is a form of prayer. It is an act of communion with a higher part of yourself, where you communicate what you seek and affirm that it already exists within you. In these moments of imaginative reverie, you plant the seeds of future experiences, allowing the invisible forces of the universe to bring them into form. This process is not random, it is governed by the steadfastness of your vision and the depth of your belief. When you believe in the reality of your imagined state, no matter how distant it may seem, it will begin to appear in your life. The world you experience is, at its core, the product of what you have dared to imagine. Whether you choose to see beauty, success, love, or abundance, the substance of your vision flows forth and fills your surroundings. To wield the power of imagination is to hold the key to creation itself, turning the intangible into the real and the invisible into form. Living in the end is the practice of embracing the feeling of your fulfilled desire as if it has already come to pass. This mindset does not involve waiting or wishing. Instead, it calls you to embody a state where the goal you seek is already accomplished. It is a profound shift from hoping to knowing, from desiring to experiencing. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align your inner world with your intended outcome, and in doing so, you draw it into reality. To live in the end requires that you release the attachment to how or when your desire will materialize. You surrender the need to control the details, instead embracing the feeling that the outcome is already yours. This feeling state is essential. It's not a vague hope, but a complete immersion in the sensation of having arrived. Imagine it as an actor stepping fully into a role, embodying every aspect of their character until it becomes second nature. You, too, are stepping into the role of a person whose wish has been realized. One of the most powerful aspects of living in the end is the confidence it instills. By assuming the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you cultivate an inner certainty that replaces doubt and anxiety with a calm assurance. This inner calm radiates outwards, affecting how you carry yourself, the way you interact with others, and even the choices you make. Living in the end eliminates the energy of lack and limitation. Rather than focusing on what is absent, you focus on the feeling of wholeness, of satisfaction, which creates a powerful frequency that attracts that very state into being. When you act, think, and feel from a place where your desire is already achieved, your mind begins to align with the path that leads you there. This practice is not just about positive thinking. It is an intentional state of being that requires commitment and faith. Living in the end transforms obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into opportunities for growth. By embodying your goal, you naturally find yourself taking actions and making decisions that are consistent with your vision, often without conscious effort. This process of living in the end calls for unwavering focus. When distractions or doubts arise, gently return to the feeling of fulfillment. Your mind may try to rationalize, reminding you of the current reality, but your task is to hold firm to the inner experience. Trust that this inner experience is more real than the transient, shifting outer world. The world you see is, in many ways, an echo of the state you occupy internally. As you consistently return to this feeling of fulfillment, the external world will eventually mirror back what you have chosen to believe. By living in the end, you are telling the universe, "This is already mine," and the universe responds in kind. Circumstances rearrange, opportunities unfold, and paths open where none existed before. Through this inner conviction, you bridge the gap between what you desire and what you experience, making the journey one of joyous expectancy rather than anxious anticipation. In living as though you have already arrived, you invite your vision into form and allow your life to be transformed by the simple, powerful truth of already being whole, complete, and fulfilled. In the unseen is a commitment to the truth that reality extends beyond what can be perceived by the senses. This kind of faith is not merely an abstract belief but a deeply felt conviction that the invisible realm is as real, if not more real, than the physical world we encounter daily. It is the understanding that everything visible originates from the invisible, and that our unseen beliefs, thoughts, and inner states shape the world we experience. Faith in the unseen calls upon us to trust in outcomes that are not yet evident, to believe in what the senses cannot confirm. It requires looking beyond the apparent limitations of the current moment, and instead turning inward to the quiet certainty within. This certainty is not grounded in logic or external evidence. It arises from a profound inner knowing, a confidence that what is deeply felt will eventually be seen. By cultivating this faith, we allow ourselves to move forward without requiring proof of our success or guarantees from the external world. Instead, we lean into a trusting state, letting our invisible convictions guide our actions and decisions. This kind of faith is the driving force behind all true creation. It is the foundation of every great accomplishment, for no one has ever achieved a significant goal by relying solely on what they could see or measure. Faith in the unseen is what enables inventors, artists, leaders, and visionaries to bring forth ideas that initially seemed impossible. They do not wait for tangible evidence to appear. Instead, they act from a sense of certainty that what they envision is real, even if others cannot yet see it. Developing faith in the unseen involves deliberately turning away from doubt and fear. The physical world often reflects back conditions that contradict our desires, creating an illusion of limitation. But faith transcends these illusions, recognizing them as temporary manifestations that can be reshaped by our inner beliefs. Rather than reacting to the current conditions, faith asks us to hold fast to the desired outcome, knowing that the unseen forces at work are more powerful than any temporary setback. This faith is an anchor, grounding us in the conviction that what we cannot yet see is already forming. Having faith in the unseen requires consistent focus and discipline. It means regularly immersing oneself in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, regardless of what the senses report. When doubts arise, we gently return to that inner knowing, affirming that our desired outcome is as real as any physical fact. This is not a one-time effort, it is a daily practice, a continual commitment to seeing beyond appearances and believing in the invisible potential. Faith in the unseen is also a declaration of personal power. By trusting in the invisible, we claim our role as co-creators of our experience, accepting that we have the ability to shape our reality. This is not faith in something outside of ourselves, but rather a faith in the creative force within us, the very essence that connects us to all possibilities. By aligning with this unseen force, we allow it to guide and direct our lives, knowing that it will bring us to the realization of our vision. Living with faith in the unseen brings a sense of peace and purpose. We are no longer driven by fear of the unknown, but rather inspired by it, excited by the potential of what lies beyond. Each day becomes an opportunity to strengthen this faith, to embrace the unseen as the source of all creation, and to witness as what once seemed intangible and distant becomes a lived reality. Faith in the unseen is the bridge from desire to fulfillment, allowing us to walk confidently in the assurance that what we seek is already on its way to us. Aligning thought with action is the process of bringing your inner vision and external behaviors into harmony, a union that channels your energy toward manifesting your deepest desires. While thought is the starting point of creation, it is action that grounds these thoughts into tangible reality. When both thought and action are in alignment, you become a powerful force, moving with clarity and intention toward your goals. It begins with a clear, focused vision, a mental picture of what you wish to bring into being. This vision is the guiding force that directs both thought and action, acting as a compass for every decision you make. Without this clarity, actions may lack purpose and direction, leading to scattered efforts that produce little progress. However, when you hold a vision firmly in your mind and align your thoughts to it, your actions naturally follow, supporting the intention you have set. You are no longer merely reacting to circumstances, but consciously creating them. Alignment between thought and action requires that you move beyond daydreaming or idle wishful thinking. It calls for conviction, the kind of belief that is so strong it prompts you to act as though your goal is already within reach. When your mind is filled with the idea of success, prosperity, or well-being, your actions will naturally begin to reflect this inner state. If you think in terms of abundance, you will make choices from a place of abundance, rather than fear or limitation. This alignment transforms your actions from random efforts into purposeful steps that bring you closer to your desired outcome. When thought and action are in sync, obstacles lose their power. Challenges may still arise, but rather than seeing them as insurmountable barriers, you view them as stepping stones or opportunities for growth. In this aligned state, your actions are driven by a sense of purpose rather than by doubt or fear. Each action becomes an expression of your vision, infused with the energy of the reality you are creating. This consistency strengthens your belief, reinforcing the inner state of fulfillment and drawing the outcome closer. Aligning thought with action creates a sense of ease and flow in life. When your thoughts and actions are out of alignment, life often feels like a struggle, as though you are pushing against the current. You may want one thing, but act in ways that contradict it, leading to frustration and stagnation. However, when alignment is achieved, the tension disappears, and life begins to flow more effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves, resources appear, and you find yourself in the right place at the right time. This alignment also nurtures a deep sense of integrity. When you act in harmony with your highest vision, you are being true to yourself. There is no internal conflict or compromise. You embody the qualities you wish to experience, whether it is confidence, love, or success, and each action you take reflects that inner state. This consistency between thought and action inspires trust, both within yourself and in others, creating a foundation of authenticity that strengthens your resolve. Aligning thought with action is a practice, one that requires mindfulness and commitment. It involves continually returning to your vision, reaffirming your belief in it, and taking deliberate steps that reflect that belief. Whenever doubts arise, you can gently remind yourself of the bigger picture, returning to the feeling of already having achieved your goal. Each small action then becomes a building block, supporting the reality you have chosen to create. Aligning thought with action is the embodiment of faith in motion. It is the process of living as if your vision is already realized, letting each thought and action reinforce that reality. This practice does not simply bring you closer to your goal, it transforms you, making you a living expression of the life you desire. Through this alignment, you become the architect of your reality, actively shaping your world from the inside out. Persistence in belief is the steady commitment to hold on to your vision, even when circumstances appear contrary. It is the unwavering faith that your desires are achievable, that what you imagine is not only possible but inevitable if you remain steadfast. This kind of persistence is not about forcing or demanding results immediately, rather, it's about maintaining an unshakable inner conviction despite what the outer world may show. Belief, when consistently nurtured, becomes a powerful force that shapes reality to reflect the inner state you sustain. Often when we set a goal or create a vision, enthusiasm drives us initially. We feel energized, confident, and full of anticipation. Yet, as time passes and obstacles arise, it is easy to let doubts creep in. The absence of immediate results can make the desired outcome seem distant or unreachable. However, this is the very moment when persistence becomes essential. It is the point where many people give up, allowing temporary setbacks to undermine their belief. But true creation requires consistency, a willingness to hold on even when evidence is scarce. Each time you choose to believe, you reinforce that belief, making it stronger and more resilient. To be persistent in belief, you must cultivate patience and trust. Patience is not passive, it is an active practice of staying true to your vision, regardless of how long it takes. When you resist the urge to question or doubt, you allow your mind to stay focused and clear. Doubt divides energy, scattering it across conflicting thoughts. while belief gathers energy, focusing it on a single, unwavering point. Persistent belief channels this focused energy toward the goal, creating momentum that ultimately manifests in tangible ways. Holding on to belief requires that you resist external validation. Instead, you must find your confirmation within. Outer circumstances are only reflections of past thoughts and beliefs, so if you are aiming to create something new, you must look past current conditions, see them as temporary, knowing that they will soon change to match your inner conviction. This doesn't mean ignoring reality, but rather acknowledging it without letting it dictate your belief. Each time you reaffirm your commitment, regardless of visible results, you are reinforcing the truth that lies within you. Persistent belief also means being gentle with yourself. It's natural for doubts to arise, and there will be moments when the journey feels challenging. In these times, remember that setbacks are part of the process. They test the strength of your conviction and offer opportunities to deepen your faith. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs of failure, view them as reminders to return to your belief. Revisit the vision you hold, feel the reality of it, and trust that it is forming even if you cannot yet see it. Persistence in belief is an act of self-mastery. It requires discipline to focus on the desired outcome consistently, to imagine the feeling of fulfillment even when that fulfillment seems far off. Each day as you recommit to your belief, you are shaping your reality from the inside out. This consistent inner work is what brings the intangible into form. When you persist in belief, you become like a rock amid shifting waves. The outer world may change, but your inner certainty remains steady. Through this persistence, you align with the power that creates all things. You are no longer swayed by temporary conditions or fleeting emotions. Instead, you become a source of stability, a center of creation, allowing your unwavering belief to draw circumstances, people, and events into alignment with your vision. Over time, the physical world will reflect this inner state, and what once existed only in your mind will stand before you as reality. Persistent belief is the key to true creation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the dream and the achievement. As fuel is the practice of harnessing the power of appreciation to propel you toward your desires and sustain a fulfilling life. Gratitude is often seen as a response to good fortune, but its true power lies in cultivating it as a consistent state of mind, one that acknowledges the gifts already present and attracts even more abundance. Rather than waiting for conditions to improve, gratitude creates a deep sense of satisfaction and aligns you with a higher frequency, allowing you to move forward with purpose and positivity. Fuels transformation by shifting focus from what is lacking to what is already sufficient, turning attention to the blessings around you. This shift in focus changes the energy you bring to each moment, creating a foundation of positivity and contentment. When you appreciate what you have, you create a vibration of abundance. In this state, life's challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of frustration. Gratitude is a powerful mindset that reframes setbacks as part of a larger journey, fueling resilience and persistence. By continually giving thanks, you build emotional strength, creating a reserve of inner joy and confidence. This energy of gratitude acts like a magnet, drawing more of what you value into your life. It is said that what you focus on expands, and gratitude is no exception. When you feel grateful, you cultivate an energy that attracts more experiences, people, and circumstances to be thankful for. This is because gratitude signals to the universe that you recognize and appreciate abundance, whether it exists in material form or in the quieter gifts of life, like love, health, and connection. The more you embrace gratitude, the more you resonate with the frequency of abundance, aligning yourself with the very things you seek. Using gratitude as fuel also enhances clarity and purpose. When you focus on what you value, your vision becomes clearer and your path more defined. Gratitude fosters intentionality, inspiring actions that honor what matters most to you. It becomes easier to make choices aligned with your values, letting go of distractions and tuning into what truly enriches your life. This clarity not only strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve your goals, but also helps you recognize the small wins along the way, sustaining motivation and keeping you engaged with the process. Also deepens connections with others, enhancing both personal and professional relationships. Expressing gratitude strengthens bonds, allowing others to feel valued and seen. This sense of connection fuels mutual support, collaboration, and trust. As you express genuine appreciation, you foster a positive environment that encourages growth, cooperation, and kindness. These relationships then become sources of inspiration and support, further fueling you on your journey. Gratitude as fuel is more than a fleeting emotion. It is a practice of living in harmony with the present moment, while inviting even more blessings into your life. When you regularly reflect on and give thanks for your achievements, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief in your own ability to succeed. This belief builds confidence, allowing you to pursue your goals with a greater sense of purpose and joy. Gratitude is both a reflection and a catalyst for a fulfilling life. It is the spark that powers your dreams, the reminder that abundance surrounds you, and the fuel that keeps you moving forward with enthusiasm, faith, and love. In embracing gratitude as fuel, you become more than just an observer of life's gifts. You become a co-creator, actively participating in the flow of abundance. It is in this state of gratitude that life's challenges become smaller, achievements become more meaningful, and the journey itself becomes as rewarding as the destination. In embracing gratitude as the foundation of your life, you transform your journey into one of abundance, resilience, and purpose. Gratitude becomes more than just a feeling. It becomes the very energy that guides, fuels, and sustains you, turning each moment into a stepping stone toward fulfillment. By consistently focusing on the blessings around you and aligning your actions with this energy, you not only attract more of what you desire, but also build a life rich in meaning, joy, and connection. Let gratitude be your steady companion, the source of strength that keeps you moving forward with clarity and peace. Thank you for allowing this message of gratitude to inspire and fuel your journey. Today I invite you to consider the idea of dropping the mantle of the nice guy, not in the sense of kindness or compassion, those remain invaluable, but the nice guy. As society has defined him as one who sacrifices his own values, silences his own desires, and abandons his authenticity to accommodate others. This habit of forsaking self to fit into a mold set by those around you has kept you from your truest life. When you are authentic, you are connected to a profound inner compass, a guiding force that cannot be altered by the fleeting opinions or expectations of others. To act from this place is to move with an unwavering sense of purpose, which is often lost when we are overly concerned with appearing nice, likable, or even harmless. Such preoccupations weaken your capacity to follow your own path and to make decisions that resonate with your true self. Authenticity requires that you peel back the layers of conditioning and socialization that have taught you to act small, to temper your voice, and to dilute your truth. It asks that you become unapologetically yourself, knowing that your worth is inherent and that external validation cannot define it. Living authentically requires a deep trust in yourself. It calls upon you to reject the need for approval that has been conditioned into you, which suggests that your worthiness is contingent upon the opinions of others. When you feel the need to alter or hide aspects of yourself for approval, you betray your inner power. This sacrifice chips away at your self-respect and fosters insecurity, as you constantly seek assurance outside of yourself. By standing in your truth, regardless of others' judgments or perceptions, you assert your worth simply by virtue of your existence. You declare to yourself and to the world that you are enough as you are. When you live authentically, you are also in harmony with your desires and aspirations. Often we hesitate to express our dreams or voice our ambitions out of fear that others may judge them or see them as too grand, too bold, or even unrealistic. But authenticity demands that you honor these desires. They are the whispers of the deeper self, guiding you toward what will ultimately fulfill and complete you. By acknowledging your desires without compromise, you step into a life that is aligned with your spirit and soul. You cease to be at the mercy of others' expectations and instead root yourself in the quiet assurance that what you want is valid, meaningful, and worthy of pursuit. To live authentically is also to embrace vulnerability. Many fear that by revealing their true selves, they expose themselves to potential hurt, rejection, or judgment. This fear is valid, but living inauthentically is equally painful. The inauthentic life is one of repression, constant adaptation, and shallow connections, because you are never allowing anyone to know or see the real you. When you live authentically, you do so with the understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a strength. The courage to be vulnerable enables you to form deeper connections, where you are not simply playing a role or trying to meet someone else's standards. Authentic relationships, built on the bedrock of honesty and openness, are among the most profound gifts life has to offer. The power of authenticity is not forceful, it does not strive or seek to dominate. It simply is. It is the quiet, enduring strength of knowing who you are, trusting yourself, and valuing your own perspective above fleeting opinions. This inner strength allows you to stand firm in times of adversity, to face challenges without compromising your integrity, and to move forward with confidence. When you live from a place of authenticity, you do not waste energy on pretense or the fear of being found out, because you are not projecting a facade. The energy that others expend on maintaining false identities, you channel toward your passions, your goals, and your growth. Your authenticity becomes a source of resilience, a place from which you draw courage when the path becomes difficult or uncertain. You find liberation. The approval of others, which once held such importance, loses its grip, and you begin to realize that the only validation you need is your own. You become less concerned with fitting in and more devoted to growing, expanding, and embracing your unique place in the world. This freedom from external influence allows you to shape a life that resonates with your true values and principles. You no longer live according to a script handed to you by society. Instead, you become the author of your own story, one that aligns with your inner truth. True power is a state of being that is rooted in authenticity. It is the ability to stand firm, to say yes when it aligns with your values, and no when it does not, without feeling the need to justify yourself. This power is calm and unshakable. It does not waver with the opinions of others or with changing circumstances. It is the power of someone who knows their worth, who has embraced their uniqueness, and who moves through life with the quiet assurance that they are complete as they are. As you deepen your commitment to authenticity, you may find that certain relationships, habits, and environments no longer serve you. This is natural, as authenticity is a refining process, shedding what no longer aligns with your inner truth. In this shedding, you make room for what is true, meaningful, and enduring. The world respects those who respect themselves, and as you embody authenticity, you will begin to attract people and experiences that resonate with your true self. Authenticity, then, is not only your power, it is your compass, your strength, and the path to a life lived fully, freely, and without compromise. The need for validation is a powerful force, one that often drives people to act in ways that are contrary to their true selves. In a world where approval is sought from every corner through social media likes, praise from colleagues, or acknowledgement from loved ones, it's easy to lose oneself in the pursuit of external recognition. Yet, true peace and self-worth can only be found when you give up seeking validation from others and instead turn inward to recognize your own inherent worth. The desire for validation is, at its core, a desire to feel valued, to know that one's existence, thoughts, and actions matter. But when this need for recognition becomes the lens through which you view your own worth, it clouds your authenticity and binds you to a life that is constantly shaped by others' opinions. When you seek validation, you hand over your power. You place your sense of worth in the hands of others, who may or may not have your best interests at heart. This dependency becomes a form of bondage, as you end up molding yourself to fit someone else's ideal, changing your opinions, or hiding your true feelings just to maintain the approval of others. This way of living is exhausting, as it requires you to constantly anticipate the preferences and expectations of those around you. The opinions of others become your yardstick for self-worth, and in doing so, you diminish your own ability to self-validate. Giving up the need for validation requires a shift in focus from an outward reliance on others to an inward connection with yourself. Instead of basing your worth on external factors, you start to cultivate self-awareness and self-acceptance. You begin to see that your worth does not fluctuate based on what others think of you, and you realize that you alone hold the power to determine how valuable you are. This realization is liberating, as it frees you from the burden of needing to conform or seek approval. When you give yourself permission to approve of who you are, you move through life with a quiet confidence that cannot be easily shaken. One of the reasons people struggle to give up validation is because it has become a habit. From a young age, society conditions us to seek praise for doing well, to look for recognition as a sign of success, and to measure ourselves against others to determine our standing. This creates an internal belief that unless others validate us, our actions, opinions, or achievements are not truly worthwhile. But by recognizing this conditioning, you gain the awareness needed to break free from it. You begin to see that the need for validation is not innate but learned, and because it is learned, it can also be unlearned. To give up seeking validation, you must cultivate a deep sense of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the understanding that you are whole as you are, with all your strengths and flaws, and that you do not need to prove your worth to anyone. This does not mean you become indifferent or self-centered. Rather, it means that you prioritize your own well-being and integrity over external approval. When you genuinely accept yourself, the opinions of others lose their grip on you. You may still value feedback, but it no longer has the power to define your sense of worth or steer you off course. Self-acceptance fosters an unshakable foundation upon which you can build a life that is true to your values and aspirations, rather than a life built on the expectations of others. By letting go of validation, you also unlock the freedom to be authentic. When you are not seeking approval, you are free to express your thoughts, follow your passions, and make decisions that align with your true self. Authenticity is a natural outcome of self-validation, as you no longer feel the need to censor yourself or hide aspects of who you are. You stop living for the approval of an audience and start living for the fulfillment of your own purpose. This authenticity attracts people who genuinely resonate with you, leading to more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. When you are true to yourself, you invite others to connect with you on a level that transcends superficial approval. Living without the need for validation also brings resilience. When you are not dependent on others' opinions to feel worthy, you become less vulnerable to criticism and rejection. You are able to maintain your sense of self-worth even in the face of negative feedback, as you know that your value does not hinge on anyone else's perception. This resilience is crucial for personal growth, as it enables you to take risks, pursue dreams, and learn from setbacks without fear of losing your sense of self. You develop an inner fortitude that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. Perhaps one of the most profound benefits of giving up validation is the deep inner peace it brings. When you are no longer caught in the constant need to measure up, you experience a sense of freedom and contentment. You are no longer swayed by every opinion or judgment, and you are not distracted by the quest for approval. Instead, you can be fully present, grounded in the knowledge that you are enough as you are. This peace is a gift that no amount of external praise can provide, as it is rooted in your own self-worth and authenticity. In a world that often pressures you to be everything to everyone, giving up the need for validation is a radical act of self-liberation. It allows you to reclaim your power, to live according to your own values, and to connect with yourself on a level that goes beyond superficial approval. By letting go of validation, you align with your inner truth and create a life that is rich in meaning, resilience, and peace. You learn to trust yourself and to value your own opinion above all else, knowing that you are the only one who can truly define your worth. In doing so, you step into a life of freedom, where you are no longer bound by the judgments of others, but are empowered by the quiet assurance of your own self-acceptance. Our desires are like inner compasses, pointing us toward what we truly need to live a fulfilling and authentic life. However, many people are reluctant to fully embrace or express their desires. They might suppress them out of fear, believing that others will judge them, or that pursuing their dreams will lead to failure or disappointment. Yet, when we ignore our desires, we ignore vital parts of ourselves. These are the parts that yearn for expression, creativity, and expansion, guiding us to discover who we truly are. To be true to your desires is to give voice to the silent call within you that knows exactly what you need to feel fulfilled, alive, and complete. Being true to your desires is a radical act of self-acceptance. It is acknowledging that what you want is valid and deserves your attention. Often we are conditioned to dismiss our desires as selfish or impractical, and we learn to replace them with the goals that society, family, or peers deem appropriate. This tendency disconnects us from our authentic selves, leading us to make choices that lack personal resonance. But to live a life that truly reflects who you are, you must give yourself permission to want what you want, unapologetically. This requires you to release the beliefs and expectations that have been imposed upon you and instead follow what genuinely brings you joy and fulfillment. Your desires are unique to you, and they carry wisdom about what will bring you the greatest satisfaction and growth. By honoring them, you honor yourself. To align with your desires means to develop a relationship with them, to understand them deeply, and to let them inform your actions and choices. This involves introspection, taking time to explore what you truly want beneath surface desires and fleeting cravings. Real desires, the ones that speak to your soul, are often rooted in long-held dreams, values, or passions that remain consistent through life's changing circumstances. They are the things you feel drawn to even in quiet moments, the goals or visions that seem to tug at you no matter how much time has passed. When you connect with these desires, you access a wellspring of motivation, energy, and purpose, because these desires are aligned with your core self. Expressing your true desires can be intimidating. It requires vulnerability to admit what you want and courage to pursue it, especially if it does not align with others' expectations. But living authentically means embracing the discomfort that sometimes comes with standing apart from the crowd. By staying true to your desires, you are showing up as your full self, unafraid to prioritize what truly matters to you. This can be challenging, particularly when others don't understand or support your choices. However, the approval of others pales in comparison to the fulfillment that comes from honoring your own truth. The sense of satisfaction you will feel is worth more than any external validation. Following your desires often involves taking risks, as the path toward fulfillment is rarely straightforward. There will likely be obstacles, setbacks, and challenges along the way. But these are not signs to abandon your dreams. Rather, they are part of the journey that strengthens your commitment. Desires are not meant to be easily attained. They are meant to push you, to force you to grow, and to call upon strengths you might not yet realize you possess. As you move toward your desires, you learn to be resourceful, resilient, and adaptable. Each step you take, no matter how difficult, brings you closer to the life you envision, building confidence and fortitude along the way. In being true to your desires, you also cultivate a profound sense of personal integrity. Integrity is about alignment, aligning your actions, thoughts, and words with your deepest truths. When you are consistently pursuing desires that resonate with who you truly are, you build a strong foundation of self-respect. You demonstrate to yourself that your needs, goals, and dreams are worthy of pursuit. Over time, this self-respect translates into a deep-seated belief in your own value and purpose. Living in alignment with your desires also enables you to form genuine connections with others, as people are naturally drawn to individuals who are authentic, self-assured, and passionate. Being true to your desires fosters creativity and fulfillment. Your desires often hint at the gifts and talents within you that are waiting to be expressed. They are unique to you, and the world benefits when you bring them into existence. When you embrace and pursue what you genuinely desire, you contribute something distinct to the world, something that only you can create or offer. This creative expression brings not only personal satisfaction but also a sense of purpose, as you realize that your desires serve a greater role in shaping the world around you. So, to be true to your desires also means to be patient with yourself. Desires, particularly those that are deeply rooted, often take time to fully manifest. The journey toward fulfilling them may not always unfold as you expect, but patience and persistence are essential. By being consistent and committed, you build a life that reflects your truest self, even if it takes time. This patience teaches you to trust in the process and in your own ability to bring your dreams to fruition. Your desires are there for a reason. They are part of who you are, woven into the fabric of your identity and purpose. When you ignore or suppress them, you deny yourself the fullness of your own potential. You settle for a life that might look complete on the surface, but lacks the depth and richness of true fulfillment. But by embracing your desires, you step into a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your soul. You create a path that is uniquely yours, one that reflects your passions, values, and dreams. Be true to your desires. Give yourself permission to want what you want, without apology or justification. Embrace the path, even if it is unfamiliar or challenging, and let your desires guide you toward the life you are meant to live. In honoring your desires, you honor the essence of who you are, creating a life that is as expansive, joyful, and fulfilling as the dreams that lie within you. Setting and asserting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being. They define what you will and will not accept in relationships, work environments, and social interactions. However, the way in which you assert these boundaries can make all the difference. While boundaries need to be firm, they do not need to be aggressive or harsh. Asserting boundaries with grace allows you to communicate your needs respectfully, to stand up for yourself confidently, and to build healthier, more respectful relationships. Graceful boundary setting starts with a deep understanding of your own needs and values. Often we allow our boundaries to be crossed simply because we have not taken the time to consider what we truly need in a situation or relationship. Self-reflection allows you to pinpoint where your boundaries lie and helps you clarify why they are important to you. For example, if you find that you often feel drained after certain social interactions, this might be a sign that you need to establish limits on your availability. Recognizing this need gives you the foundation to assert your boundary with calm conviction, rather than reacting in frustration or resentment. Once you have clarity on your boundaries, the next step is to communicate them effectively. Many people fear boundary setting because they worry it will come across as confrontational or selfish. However, setting boundaries is neither unkind nor selfish. It is an essential part of maintaining your well-being and honoring your commitments to yourself. Communicating boundaries with grace requires a balance of honesty and empathy. Rather than expressing your boundary as a rejection of the other person, you can frame it as an affirmation of your own needs. For instance, instead of saying, "I don't want to do this for you anymore," you could say, "I've realized I need to reserve more time for my own projects, so I won't be able to take this on." This approach communicates your boundary while minimizing potential defensiveness or hurt feelings. A common misconception about boundaries is that they are rigid walls that isolate you from others. In reality, healthy boundaries are flexible and can adapt as situations and relationships evolve. Setting boundaries with grace means being willing to assess and, when necessary, adjust them as life circumstances change. For example, a boundary that felt appropriate in the early stages of a relationship might need to be reevaluated as trust and closeness develop. Likewise, if a boundary consistently feels like a source of unnecessary stress, it may be worth considering whether it still serves you. The ability to reassess boundaries demonstrates maturity and adaptability, allowing you to maintain them in a way that genuinely supports your well-being. Graceful boundary setting also involves being prepared for various responses, as not everyone will understand or accept your boundaries immediately. Some may react with frustration, disappointment, or even guilt-tripping, particularly if they have been accustomed to certain behavior patterns. However, remaining composed and gentle in the face of these reactions can help diffuse tension and encourage understanding. Responding with empathy, rather than defensiveness, can be effective here. For example, saying, "I understand that this change might be unexpected, but I appreciate your patience," acknowledges the other person's feelings without compromising your boundary. This approach not only maintains your boundary, but also fosters an atmosphere of respect and understanding. When setting boundaries, it is essential to let go of the need for others' approval. Often, people avoid asserting boundaries because they fear being perceived as unkind or unhelpful. However, prioritizing your well-being is a necessity, not an act of selfishness. Recognizing this frees you from the pressure of needing others to agree with or validate your boundaries. Setting boundaries with grace means embracing the reality that not everyone will fully understand or appreciate them. Your responsibility is not to make everyone happy, it is to honor yourself. Others may or may not accept your choices, but when you are clear in your own mind, their reactions do not undermine your resolve. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of setting boundaries with grace is the impact it has on your relationships. People who respect you will ultimately respect your boundaries, even if it takes time for them to adjust. By clearly defining your limits, you actually allow space for relationships to grow stronger and healthier. Boundaries act as a foundation for mutual respect, as they prevent misunderstandings and resentment from building up. When you model respectful boundary setting, you also encourage others to do the same, fostering an environment where everyone feels safe to express their needs honestly and openly. As you set and reinforce your boundaries, be kind to yourself. Setting boundaries can be uncomfortable at first, especially if it's something you're not used to doing. You may feel guilt, self-doubt, or worry about the reactions of others, but remember that every act of boundary setting is an act of self-care. Allow yourself to feel empowered by this process and celebrate the courage it takes to honor your own needs. Over time, boundary setting will become second nature, bringing a sense of peace and balance to your life. By respecting yourself and your limits, you will find that others, too, begin to respect you on a deeper level. Setting boundaries with grace is not just about protecting yourself, it's about cultivating relationships and a life that reflect respect, understanding, and authenticity. It is an act of self-love and a commitment to a life that honors your needs, values, and energy. Embracing this process transforms the way you interact with the world, allowing you to show up more fully, with kindness and confidence, in every aspect of your life. The habit of self-sacrifice often stems from a deep-rooted belief that giving more of yourself, your time, energy, and resources is a way to show love, loyalty, or commitment. It is a powerful impulse, one that seems noble and generous on the surface, but often comes with a heavy cost. This pattern can slowly drain you of your vitality and authenticity, leaving you feeling depleted and disconnected from your own desires. Releasing the habit of self-sacrifice is not about abandoning kindness or compassion, it is about redefining these virtues so they honor both others and yourself. By breaking free from this habit, you begin to embrace a life where your needs and well-being are not only valid but essential. The first step in releasing the habit of self-sacrifice is to recognize its presence in your life. Many people sacrifice themselves in small, seemingly insignificant ways every day without even realizing it. You might constantly say yes to extra work, neglect your own rest to help others, or suppress your emotions to keep peace in relationships. This tendency to put others' needs before your own can be difficult to spot because it often feels so natural, even virtuous. However, when self-sacrifice becomes habitual, it leads to a loss of personal balance and ultimately erodes your sense of self. Acknowledging where and how you give too much of yourself is an act of self-awareness and the foundation for building a healthier way of relating to others. One reason people fall into the trap of self-sacrifice is due to a subconscious belief that their worth is tied to their ability to give. If you have been raised to believe that selflessness is the highest virtue, you might equate taking care of yourself with being selfish. But true self-worth is not conditional on how much you can give or how well you can please others. Instead, it is about recognizing your inherent value, independent of what you do for others. Breaking the habit of self-sacrifice requires a shift in this mindset, where you begin to see that your well-being matters, not because of what you provide, but because you are worthy of care and respect simply as you are. When you start valuing yourself in this way, self-sacrifice no longer feels necessary for validation or acceptance. As you release the habit of self-sacrifice, it becomes essential to establish healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set to protect your energy, time, and emotional health. They allow you to engage with others in a way that is respectful to both parties, without overextending yourself. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you are accustomed to saying yes to everyone and everything. However, boundaries are not barriers, they are expressions of respect, both for yourself and for those around you. By setting limits, you honor your own needs and create relationships that are based on genuine connection rather than obligation or resentment. When you stop sacrificing yourself unnecessarily, you also make room for authenticity in your relationships. Often, self-sacrifice can lead to hidden resentment or unspoken expectations that others cannot fulfill. This resentment accumulates over time, weakening the bond between you and those you care about. By being honest about your needs and letting go of the expectation to constantly sacrifice for others, you create an environment where everyone is free to express themselves openly and without hidden agendas. True connection and love thrive in authenticity, not in self-denial or suppression. The aspect of releasing self-sacrifice is learning to practice self-care without guilt. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it is a necessity. When you prioritize your physical, mental, and emotional health, you have more to offer others from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Self-care can take many forms, whether it's resting when you're tired, setting aside time for activities you enjoy, or simply saying no when you're stretched too thin. Each act of self-care reinforces the belief that you deserve kindness and care as much as anyone else. Letting go of guilt around self-care allows you to be more present, more joyful, and more resilient, ultimately making you a better support to others. As you move away from the habit of self-sacrifice, you may encounter resistance from others who have grown accustomed to your giving nature. People might not understand or accept your decision to set boundaries and prioritize your needs at first, and this can be challenging. However, it is important to remember that changing this dynamic is essential for your well-being. By honoring yourself, you teach others how to treat you. In time, those who respect you will come to respect your boundaries, and you will cultivate relationships that are balanced and mutually fulfilling. Letting go of self-sacrifice also allows you to rediscover and reconnect with your passions, interests, and goals. When you habitually put others first, your own dreams and desires often fall by the wayside. Releasing this habit gives you the freedom to explore what truly matters to you, to set goals that align with your values, and to pursue the things that bring you joy. By reclaiming your time and energy, you open up space for growth and fulfillment in ways that enrich not only your own life but also inspire those around you. Living without self-sacrifice is about finding harmony between giving and receiving. It is possible to be compassionate and generous without compromising your well-being. Releasing self-sacrifice does not mean abandoning your loved ones or shirking responsibilities. It simply means giving from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. When you are balanced and cared for, your kindness flows naturally and authentically, without resentment or exhaustion. This balanced approach allows you to show up fully in your relationships and endeavors, bringing the best of yourself to every interaction. Letting go of self-sacrifice is a journey towards self-respect and self-compassion. It is about acknowledging that your needs are as important as anyone else's, and that caring for yourself is a crucial part of living a meaningful, joyful life. By releasing this habit, you break free from patterns that drain you and embrace a path of fulfillment, vitality, and authentic connection. In valuing yourself, you cultivate a life where kindness is rooted in strength, compassion in clarity, and love in balance. Embracing your innate worth is a journey of recognizing and honoring the deep, inherent value that exists within you. It is a journey away from conditional self-worth, one that depends on external validations or achievements, and toward a grounded, internal understanding that you are valuable simply because you are. Society often teaches us that worthiness is something to be earned through success, through how much we give to others, through how much we accomplish. But this is a misconception that can lead to feelings of inadequacy, fear of failure, and a never-ending chase for external approval. True self-worth isn't dependent on external measures, it is something you carry within you, and that you allow to flourish by reconnecting with your authentic self. The first step to embracing your innate worth is to release the habit of comparing yourself to others. From an early age, many of us learn to see ourselves in relation to others. We may compare our looks, achievements, status, or possessions with others, and in doing so, we begin to derive our sense of worth from these comparisons. But comparison is a thief of joy and an obstacle to seeing your unique value. It's essential to remember that your worth is not diminished by another's accomplishments or elevated by another's setbacks. Every person's path is different, and your value is rooted in your distinct experiences, qualities, and contributions. By focusing on your journey, you free yourself from the cycle of comparison and allow space for your unique worth to shine through. The essential step in embracing your worth is to separate it from your achievements. It is easy to equate your value with what you accomplish or what you do for others. This mindset, however, ties your worth to external outcomes that can change over time. While accomplishments can bring fulfillment and satisfaction, they should not define your worth. Just as a diamond is valuable regardless of whether it is admired or hidden away, your value remains constant whether or not it is seen by others. Your worth exists independently of what you achieve, and learning to recognize this can bring a profound sense of inner peace and freedom. Embracing your worth is about seeing yourself as valuable, even when you are not actively doing, giving, or accomplishing. Self-acceptance is a powerful foundation for embracing your worth. Embracing your innate worth means loving yourself not in spite of your imperfections, but because of the wholeness of who you are. We are each made up of strengths, weaknesses, dreams, fears, successes, and mistakes, and all of these aspects contribute to the richness of our unique identity. When you practice self-acceptance, you are acknowledging and embracing your whole self rather than striving to meet an idealized version. Accepting yourself doesn't mean settling, it means recognizing that your worth is not contingent upon constant improvement or flawlessness. Self-acceptance lets you see your inherent worth through both the light and shadow parts of yourself. Another key element in embracing your worth is the willingness to receive love and kindness from others. When you do not see yourself as inherently worthy, it can feel uncomfortable to receive compliments, support, or love from those around you. You may feel like you don't deserve it or worry that it comes with strings attached. However, being open to receiving is part of honoring your worth. It acknowledges that you are deserving of kindness just as others are. Allowing yourself to receive love and support reinforces the idea that you are valuable just as you are. It also encourages you to let go of any belief that you must constantly give in order to be loved, paving the way for relationships rooted in mutual respect and appreciation. Forgiving yourself is another step toward embracing your worth. Often, past mistakes, regrets, or choices can weigh heavily on your sense of self-worth, making it difficult to see yourself as deserving or good enough. However, holding on to these things doesn't serve you, it only keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and self-criticism. True self-worth involves compassion, including the compassion to forgive yourself and recognize that mistakes are part of the human experience. By letting go of past regrets, you allow your inherent worth to shine through unburdened by shame or guilt. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean disregarding accountability, it means understanding that you are worthy of love and kindness, even with your imperfections. One of the most powerful ways to embrace your worth is to honor your needs and desires. When you ignore your own needs or dismiss your desires as unimportant, you send yourself a message that you are less deserving of care and happiness. Conversely, when you prioritize your well-being, you affirm your inherent value. Listening to what you need, whether it's rest, joy, connection, or growth, and giving yourself permission to seek it is a vital part of recognizing your worth. Embracing your worth means giving yourself the same love, kindness, and respect that you might readily offer to others. Your innate worth is about coming home to yourself and acknowledging that your value is not something you need to prove, earn, or negotiate. It's a quiet, enduring truth that lies within you, waiting to be acknowledged. When you let go of the need for external validation, the habit of comparison, and the drive to earn your worth, you create space to connect with your true self. This journey to self-worth is not always easy, especially in a world that often measures value by external success or status, but it is profoundly liberating. Your worth, you allow yourself to live with more authenticity, to create from a place of wholeness, and to engage with others from a foundation of confidence and respect. You stop seeking validation outside of yourself and start living from a place of inner assurance. The more you practice seeing and valuing yourself as you are, the more you step into the fullness of your being. Embracing your worth is a gift to yourself and to those around you, as it allows you to share the real you whole, worthy, and enough. In embracing your innate worth, you unlock a path to live with authenticity, peace, and deep-rooted confidence. This journey teaches you that your value is not conditional upon achievements, comparisons, or validation from others. Instead, your worth is a constant, rooted in who you truly are, independent of external circumstances. As you practice self-acceptance, self-compassion, and self-care, you come to see yourself as deserving of kindness, respect, and love. This understanding empowers you to let go of self-doubt and live in a way that honors your truest self. Thank you for taking this journey inward, and may you continue to embrace the unique and invaluable worth within you. Today you stand on the edge of possibility, where the life you dream of is not a distant reality but within reach, waiting for you to claim it. In just 1 month, a month filled with focused vision, inner work, and aligned action, your life can transform. But remember, change does not come from external circumstances, it begins within you. For a moment, that the power to change everything about your life lies within you. It's not locked away in distant places or held by forces beyond your reach, but quietly resting inside, waiting for you to wake up to it. This inner power is not just a concept, it is a force that shapes every part of your reality. To awaken it, you must first recognize that you are not a victim of circumstances, nor are you bound by the past or limited by the opinions of others. You are far more than what appears on the surface, and the ability to create the life you desire is as real as the air you breathe. Everything in your world is a reflection of the beliefs you hold within. What you see, experience, and feel each day is like a mirror held up to the power of your mind. When you shift what you believe to be true about yourself, your life, and what you deserve, everything begins to change. The inner power within you is the silent but mighty force that responds to the beliefs you accept. When you fully accept your creative power, your life becomes a canvas on which you can paint your deepest dreams and desires. To tap into this power, begin by becoming aware of the thoughts that occupy your mind daily. So many of us move through life unaware of the constant stream of thoughts that shape our reality. These thoughts, repeated day after day, become beliefs, and these beliefs dictate what you experience in life. Imagine a garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, or negativity, they will grow and become the dominant presence in your reality. However, when you deliberately choose thoughts of love, peace, and abundance, you cultivate a life that reflects those qualities. The journey of awakening to your inner power requires that you develop a new relationship with yourself, one built on acceptance and self-belief. Understand that you are enough as you are right now. Your dreams, your aspirations, the things you long for, they are all clues guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. But first, you must believe that you are worthy of that life. Let go of any idea that you are less than or unworthy, for these thoughts only hold you back from experiencing the fullness of your power. You must also trust in your imagination, for it is through imagination that your inner power comes to life. Everything that exists in your world was once a thought, a vision in someone's mind before it became reality. Similarly, when you envision the life you desire and hold it firmly in your mind, you are beginning the process of creation. But you must believe in your vision and see it as possible. This doesn't mean simply wishing for something or hoping that it might one day come true. It means feeling, knowing, and acting as though it already belongs to you. Embracing your inner power also involves releasing the idea that you need to control everything in your life. Often the desire to control comes from a place of fear, a fear that you are not enough or that you won't receive what you desire. However, once you awaken to your inner power, You realize that your desires are not separate from you. They are part of the path you are meant to walk, and you need not force or struggle to make them real. Instead, focus on embodying the feeling of having already achieved them, and trust that the right opportunities and people will naturally come to you. As you awaken to your inner power, you will find that your life takes on a new depth of meaning. Challenges that once seemed daunting now become stepping stones, each one leading you closer to the life you want. And as you step into this power, you will begin to notice a calm confidence that was once hidden within. It is this power, this sense of quiet strength, that allows you to remain unwavering, no matter the circumstances. When you truly know who you are and what you are capable of, you are no longer at the mercy of the world around you. You are the creator, the architect, and the master of your destiny. Everything you desire is within reach. All you need to do is awaken, believe, and act from the profound power that is already yours. For a moment that your dream life is already yours. Not in some distant future, not when circumstances align, but right now. This is the essence of living in the end, embodying the feeling and perspective of already having what you desire, before any evidence appears in the external world. It's about moving beyond wishful thinking into the certainty of fulfillment, where you mentally and emotionally step into the role of the person you wish to become. By living in the end, you're not passively waiting for something to arrive, you're actively creating the conditions that make it possible. When you choose to live as though your desires are already realized, you are tapping into a powerful principle of the mind. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Whatever you impress upon it with conviction, it accepts as true and will work relentlessly to bring into being. This is the secret behind living in the end. By nurturing the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your mind, allowing it to grow into reality. In the end is about taking on the emotions, thoughts, and behaviors of your future self. If you desire abundance, begin by feeling and acting as though abundance is already yours. Let yourself imagine what it would be like to live in financial freedom, free of worry and constraint. How would you feel waking up each day? How would you carry yourself? Who would you be in the world? By consistently holding on to this feeling, you naturally start to align your actions, decisions, and perspectives with that reality. The more you embody the person who has already achieved what you desire, the faster you will see your outer world start to reflect it. There's a shift that happens when you live in the end. Instead of feeling like something is missing, you cultivate a deep sense of wholeness and completion. You stop chasing and striving, and instead, you allow things to come to you in perfect timing. This shift removes the energy of lack, which only serves to push what you want further away. When you act from a state of having, you are no longer emitting signals of needing or wanting. This change in vibration opens the door for what you desire to naturally come into your life. Living in the end also requires that you release doubt and avoid looking for proof in the external world. If you're constantly checking for signs that your desire is manifesting, you're essentially affirming its absence. Realize that the outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. When you're secure in the knowing that what you want is already yours, you don't need external validation. Instead, you develop an inner confidence, a deep, quiet assurance that what you've imagined must come to pass. This unshakable belief keeps you steady, regardless of the circumstances around you. When challenges arise or things seem to be moving in the opposite direction, remember that appearances are temporary. The fulfillment you seek is already complete within you. Your job is to stay focused on this inner knowing, trusting that every experience, pleasant or challenging, is part of the process leading you to your desired outcome. The true test of living in the end is maintaining your conviction, even when the outside world contradicts your inner vision. When you can do this, you demonstrate mastery over your reality. One of the most transformative aspects of living in the end is the peace it brings. Instead of feeling anxious or restless, you cultivate a sense of calm and contentment, because you know that your success is certain. You no longer worry about how or when, because you trust that it's already done. This mindset frees you from the need to force outcomes or control every detail. You focus on the feeling of already having what you want and allow the process to unfold naturally. In choosing to live in the end, you are making a powerful declaration to yourself and to the universe you are worthy of your desires, and you believe in the possibility of their fulfillment. This simple yet profound shift changes everything. You are no longer a seeker but a creator, moving confidently in the direction of your dreams. The life you desire is already within you, waiting for you to step into it fully. By living as though it's already yours, you bring it closer with every thought, feeling, and action. And soon, what once felt like a dream will become the undeniable reality of your life. The imagination is often regarded as a simple tool for creativity, yet its potential goes far beyond mere daydreaming. It is the bridge between thought and reality, the power that allows us to step beyond the limitations of the physical world and reshape it in alignment with our desires. When harnessed effectively, imagination can become a potent force for transforming your life. Instead of reacting to what currently exists, imagination gives you the freedom to consciously create new possibilities, painting vivid images in the mind that act as blueprints for future experiences. Your imagination is not bound by the limits of logic or physical constraints. It can take you to places you've never been, show you aspects of yourself you've yet to discover, and let you experience emotions tied to dreams that may seem far from reach. This creative power is accessible to everyone, regardless of circumstances, because it stems from within. Whatever you imagine with genuine conviction, your mind accepts as real. When you picture something in vivid detail, feeling it as though it were happening now, you activate a mental process that begins moving you toward that very vision. One of the key principles of using imagination effectively is consistency. It's not enough to merely imagine what you want once or twice. Regularly immersing yourself in the experience of your desired reality gives your subconscious mind time to absorb it as truth. With repeated imagining, the mind grows familiar with this vision and begins working to make it a part of your lived experience. Just as a sculptor refines their piece with consistent effort, so too must you shape your reality with consistent imagining, refining the details, feeling the emotions, and seeing the images as vividly as possible. When you're engaging your imagination, it's essential to involve all the senses. Bring to life the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and feelings associated with what you desire. For instance, if you dream of a beautiful home, imagine the view from your window, the feel of the floors beneath your feet, the warmth of the lighting, and the sounds of laughter echoing through its walls. The more real this imagined scene feels to you, the more effectively it imprints itself on your subconscious, which doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. It can also serve as a powerful antidote to fear and doubt. Often we allow our minds to drift toward worry, filling our imagination with worst-case scenarios. But the same imaginative energy used to build worry can be redirected toward constructive thoughts. When fear arises, instead of fueling it, replace it with a powerful mental picture of success and happiness. This practice shifts your focus away from limitations and onto possibilities, retraining the mind to see beyond temporary obstacles. Another crucial part of harnessing imagination lies in surrendering the need to control exactly how your vision will manifest. When you imagine, don't get tangled in the how. Leave the specifics to a higher intelligence that operates beyond our understanding. Let go of the logical mind's insistence on exact pathways or conditions. The job of the imagination is to create the what and why with clarity, feeling, and conviction. The how will unfold naturally, sometimes in ways more creative and surprising than anything you could have devised. Imagination allows you to transcend limitations imposed by the outside world and focus instead on what you want to create. This focus is not mere wishful thinking, it is the powerful setting of intention. In life, we often experience what we expect, and expectation is a natural outcome of what we frequently imagine. By filling your mind with images of your desired outcome, you set a positive expectation for success. With time, these expectations turn into beliefs, and beliefs turn into reality. You'll find that what once seemed impossible begins to feel entirely within reach. In harnessing imagination, you gain the ability to step into any role you choose, to try on any experience you desire, and to feel emotions that would otherwise only be accessible through actual events. You become, in a sense, an actor rehearsing for the life you intend to live. And just as an actor absorbs the character they play, the more you immerse yourself in these mental scenes, the more naturally you embody the person who lives that reality. To fully realize the potential of imagination, practice daily. Start small, if you must, and allow yourself to grow more vivid and expansive in your visions over time. Spend a few minutes each day creating and feeling a scene from the life you desire, believing in its reality, letting it fill you with excitement and gratitude. The life you want to live already exists in the dimension of thought. Imagination is the key that unlocks it. By using it consistently and wholeheartedly, you turn invisible dreams into visible realities, step by step. With imagination as your guide, your life is limited only by the extent of your own vision and belief. Your thoughts are the seeds from which your reality grows. Each thought carries energy, and the collective energy of your thoughts shapes not only how you feel but also what you experience in life. To discipline your thoughts is to take conscious control over this process, directing your mind toward ideas that serve your highest good, rather than letting your mind drift passively, subject to every passing worry or impulse. Disciplined thinking empowers you to shape your world intentionally. This requires awareness, commitment, and practice, but the rewards are profound: a life of peace, purpose, and aligned action. Disciplining your thoughts begins with awareness. Many people are not fully conscious of their thoughts. They react automatically, allowing their mind to wander through a maze of worries, doubts, and fears. To become aware, start by observing your thoughts without judgment. Take a few moments each day to simply notice the themes of your thoughts. Are they generally positive, hopeful, and focused on growth, or are they filled with fear, regret, or self-doubt? Awareness reveals the patterns you may be repeating unconsciously, giving you a clear picture of where discipline is most needed. Once you are aware, the next step is to choose your thoughts deliberately. Instead of accepting every thought that crosses your mind, start filtering them. Discard thoughts that do not serve you, especially those rooted in fear, anger, or limitation. Replace them with empowering alternatives that align with the life you want to create. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," consciously replace it with a thought like, "I am constantly growing and improving." If you find yourself dwelling on past mistakes, shift your focus to lessons learned and the progress you've made. By redirecting your thoughts consistently, you begin to change the mental landscape from one that may be reactive and chaotic to one that is calm, focused, and purposeful. This discipline requires consistency, and consistency requires patience. Just as a muscle strengthens through regular exercise, your ability to manage your thoughts strengthens with practice. At first, redirecting your thoughts may feel challenging, especially when old patterns are deeply ingrained. However, each time you catch a negative or unproductive thought and replace it with a positive, constructive one, you reinforce a new way of thinking. Over time, these shifts become second nature, and you'll find yourself more naturally inclined toward thoughts that uplift and empower you. A critical part of disciplining your thoughts is letting go of attachment to external validation. Many people shape their thoughts around the opinions and expectations of others, seeking approval or fearing judgment. But when you rely on external feedback to guide your thinking, you give away your power. True discipline means rooting your thoughts in your own values, desires, and goals, regardless of what others might think or expect. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback, but rather maintaining control over which opinions influence your mind. When you detach from the need for validation, your thoughts become more stable, grounded in your authentic self, rather than the shifting views of others. As you discipline your thoughts, you may also find it beneficial to focus on gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful mental practice that naturally orients your thoughts toward the positive aspects of life. By consciously acknowledging what you are thankful for, you shift your attention away from what you lack and toward what you already have. This practice not only brings you inner peace but also reinforces the belief that you are worthy and capable of attracting more good into your life. When gratitude becomes a regular part of your thinking, your mind is less likely to dwell on negativity or feel threatened by minor setbacks. One of the most valuable aspects of disciplined thought is its impact on decision-making. A mind that is scattered with conflicting thoughts and emotions finds it difficult to make clear, confident choices. But when your thoughts are disciplined, your decisions become more focused and aligned with your goals. You no longer waste energy on second-guessing or doubting yourself. Instead, you move forward with clarity, knowing that your choices are rooted in well-considered intentions. This alignment between thought and action creates momentum, making it easier to pursue your goals with consistency and determination. Disciplining your thoughts doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring negative emotions. It's about learning to manage them constructively. When doubt or fear arises, allow yourself to acknowledge these feelings without letting them control you. Use disciplined thought to address them. Ask yourself if the thought is serving you, and if not, choose to release it. Over time, this approach helps you develop a balanced mind that acknowledges emotions without being ruled by them. In a world where distractions and negativity abound, disciplined thinking is a profound act of self-respect and empowerment. It allows you to move through life with resilience, focus, and inner peace. By disciplining your thoughts, you reclaim control over your mind, transforming it from a passive receiver of life's circumstances into a powerful tool for creating the experiences you desire. With disciplined thoughts, you step into the role of creator, shaping your reality not by chance but by choice, one deliberate thought at a time. Time is a concept that governs much of our lives. We measure progress, success, and even happiness by how quickly things happen. The attachment to time, however, can become a barrier to fulfillment, creating a sense of urgency, impatience, and even frustration when things don't unfold as quickly as we'd like. By releasing our attachment to time, we open ourselves to a state of trust and flow, where we allow life to unfold naturally without feeling pressured by the ticking of the clock. This release is not about disregarding time entirely, but rather about freeing ourselves from the need to control when and how everything should happen. One of the most profound shifts that occur when you release attachment to time is a greater sense of presence. When you stop fixating on the future or worrying about the speed of progress, you allow yourself to fully engage with the moment at hand. This presence not only enhances your appreciation for life, but also enables you to perform at your best without the distraction of constant anticipation. Instead of living in a state of not yet, where you're always waiting for something to happen, you begin to live in a state of now, where you find fulfillment in the present. Attachment to time often creates stress, especially when we're pursuing important goals or desires. The worry that something won't happen soon enough can lead to anxiety and doubt, which only hinders our ability to manifest what we want. When we let go of the need for things to happen on our preferred timeline, we allow ourselves to trust in the natural unfolding of life. This trust is not passive, it's an active choice to believe that everything happens in its own perfect timing. By embracing this mindset, you eliminate the unnecessary pressure that time attachment creates, freeing yourself to focus on growth rather than racing against the clock. Another benefit of releasing attachment to time is that it encourages patience and resilience. When you no longer expect things to happen by a specific date, you cultivate the ability to persist through challenges without becoming discouraged. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. If they were constantly digging them up to check on their progress, the plants would never have the chance to grow. In the same way, constantly questioning why things haven't happened yet only disrupts the natural flow of life. Patience allows you to stay committed, knowing that your efforts are taking root, even if you can't yet see the results. Letting go of time attachment also deepens your trust in the process. When you release the need to control every detail, you give yourself permission to surrender to the flow of life. This surrender doesn't mean giving up on your desires. It means trusting that they will manifest in the best possible way, even if it doesn't match your original timeline. Many of the most fulfilling achievements come not through rigid adherence to a schedule, but through openness to life's timing. Trusting the process means allowing yourself to be pleasantly surprised, open to outcomes that may exceed your initial expectations. When you're no longer bound by time, you create space for inner peace. An obsession with time creates a constant sense of not enough, whether it's not enough time, not enough progress, or not enough achievement. By releasing this attachment, you step into a mindset of abundance, where you recognize that you are exactly where you need to be. This peace is invaluable because it lets you move through life without the weight of time-based expectations. It allows you to focus on quality rather than quantity, presence rather than pace, and growth rather than impatience. A major aspect of releasing attachment to time is realizing that time is a human construct. While clocks and calendars help us organize our lives, the true essence of existence is timeless. Life itself flows outside the bounds of time, evolving in ways we cannot always predict or control. Embracing this perspective helps you detach from the idea that time defines progress. Instead, you come to see growth as an organic process that unfolds at its own pace, guided by forces greater than our human schedules. Releasing attachment to time also empowers you to redefine success. Instead of measuring accomplishments by how quickly they happen, you begin to see success as a function of alignment, growth, and authenticity. This shift lets you pursue goals from a place of joy rather than pressure, knowing that fulfillment isn't about speed but about resonance. When you focus on aligning with your true desires and values, you are far more likely to achieve lasting fulfillment, regardless of how long it takes. Releasing attachment to time is a profound act of self-trust and surrender. It means acknowledging that life's timing is often wiser than our own, and that there's beauty in the unexpected. By letting go of the need for things to happen on a rigid schedule, you open yourself to a flow of experiences that are often richer and more meaningful. Life becomes less about the destination and more about the journey, less about getting there fast and more about fully experiencing every step along the way. To release your attachment to time, you give yourself the gift of freedom. You free yourself from the chains of impatience, worry, and frustration. You allow yourself to embrace each moment, trusting that everything will fall into place as it's meant to. In doing so, you discover a deeper sense of fulfillment, one that isn't contingent on the ticking of a clock, but rooted in the timelessness of your own soul.